Hello, this is Yogeshwar, and I'm back with another interesting topic today. And this topic is on the transit of Saturn from Libra into Scorpio and how it is going to affect all of us. As you know, that Saturn is considered to be the malefic of the malefics, the cruelest of the cruelest planet, and he's actually considered a judge which comes in our life through Mahadashas, which is the main period, or the transits to give us our rewards or punishments based on our deeds. And it makes a lot of sense because as human beings, especially living in Kali Yuga, which is the age of darkness, we indulge into so many of dark deeds. I would say, I wouldn't say bad and evil deeds, because we think it's a part of life. That's the way people and society is doing it, so we justify ourselves and we go on with our lives doing those dark deeds. And those deeds, as a matter of fact, if you think about it, if you go the entire lifetime and if we accumulate all those deeds, it will be extremely difficult for us to redeem or to pay back those bad deeds which we have been incurring. So the great planet Saturn, as a matter of fact, he comes in our lives as a blessing rather, and gives us our punishments and of course rewards as well if we've done good deeds, so that our bad deeds do not accumulate so much that we cannot even pay it back. So anyways, Saturn transit therefore is extremely important because it affects all our lives. And also, the planet Saturn moves into one zodiac sign and stays there for approximately 2.5 years. So that's a long period of time. 2.5 years is not a small period of time, so it does affect us. And being a malefic and being appointed as a judge, we are all very, very concerned that we should know as to how it is going to affect us in the transit. So this time the Saturn's transit is happening on November the 2nd. It is presently into Libra and it will be moving into Scorpio on November the 2nd, 2014. So today's discussion is on people with Aries ascendant and Aries moon sign. A lot of astrologers give importance to the transit of Saturn from the ascendant, and I will not deny that. And many feel that the transits, especially classical books by Mantreshwara's Faladipika, etc., they give a lot of importance to the transits from the moon sign or from where the moon is placed. So today we are going to be discussing about the Aries ascendant and the moon sign. So this video is for those in whose birth chart moon is either an ascendant or moon is placed in the sign of Aries. And it's pretty simple for you to figure out. Just open up your chart, your birth chart, the natal chart, the Rashi chart, and see, well, what ascendant you are, Aries ascendant or the Aries moon sign, meaning which moon, the planet moon, is sitting in the sign of Aries. And you see Aries is represented by number 1 here, shown as an ascendant in the chart which is in the screen in front of you. So how is it going to affect the people whose ascendant is Aries or people whose moon sign is Aries? And I will recommend look at it from both views, from the ascendant as well as moon, although classicals have, like I said, I've mentioned that it makes more sense for transits, or what they call in Sanskrit gochar, should be looked at from the moon sign. So as you see the arrow here in front of the screen, it is moving. Saturn is going to be moving into the 8th zodiac sign, and for Aries it will also be the sign of Scorpio as an 8th house for them as well, because we are discussing Aries today. And you see here, when it moves in the 8th house for Aries ascendant or for Aries moon sign, what does the 8th house represent? And if you go to my previous videos, just look at it very logically, and you will understand the effect of transits. You do not have to go to astrologers to find out, hey, what is the transit going to be? It's pretty simple and standard. So what does the 8th house represent? 8th house represents longevity. So Saturn, when it moves into the 8th house, definitely is going to affect longevity. Although the classical texts have explained that the 8th house placement of Saturn is good for longevity, but if you look at it from a transit point of view or from a gochar point of view, from both the ascendant and the moon, as I've just explained, Saturn will affect that. What other things does the 8th house represent? The other thing which the 8th house represents is mysteries, occult, inheritances. So that also is going to be affected by Saturn's movement into the 8th house for Aries ascendant as well as people from the moon sign of Aries. And especially people from the moon sign of Aries, it's going to be an extremely challenging time. Why? Because as per the classical text, there is something called a dhaya. And a dhaya in Sanskrit means 2.5 years period. Just like we have a sade sati, which means a 7.5 years period, there is a dhaya when Saturn moves into the 4th house from the moon or the 8th house from the moon. So in this case, if you consider the Aries moon sign, Saturn will be entering into its 8th, and that is a dhaya for people with the moon sign of Aries. And that is going to be an extremely challenging time for them. So just be aware of that and do your good remedies. Go to a good astrologer and get astrological remedies done, so on and so forth. Very important. Now you see another house here highlighted in blue, which also is going to be affected by Saturn's movement into the 8th house. Why? That house is the 10th house. Why is it going to be affected? Because the Saturn's aspect from the 8th house is going to fall on the 10th house. It's the 3rd house aspect. If you look at my videos on the planetary aspects, you will understand. And people who are familiar with astrology, it's pretty simple for them. So from the 8th house, it's going to look at the 10th house. And the 10th house, the natural rulership of the 10th house is Capricorn. And even for Aries ascendant and the moon sign, the ruler of the 10th house is going to be Saturn. So Saturn pretty much moves into its own sign, if you look at it from the point of view of transit or gochara, which is good news. Good news, because whenever a planet moves into its own sign, it is good news. So from the point of view of profession, I think it will be, not I think, the classical texts have explained, it will be a good transit for Aries ascendant and Aries moon sign from the point of view of profession and work related activities. Now you see another house here highlighted in blue, which is the second house, because Saturn from the 8th house is looking directly at the second house, which is the house of wealth and family. And that will be extremely challenging because Saturn's drishti, or Saturn's aspect on the second house, is not considered extremely positive. And you see another house highlighted here, which is the 5th house. And the 5th house, because Saturn is aspecting the 5th house through its 10th house aspect. And of course, in that house as well, since Saturn is aspecting the 5th house, there will be a major challenge, and the 5th house is represented by children, higher intelligence, and more so especially since the 5th house is actually ruled by the planet Sun for Aries ascendant people, and even as a natural rulership. So be very careful on that front. So these are the effects which will be felt by Aries ascendant and Aries moon sign. Again, I'm repeating myself, look at it from the ascendant. So Aries ascendant people should look at it, and Aries moon sign, meaning where the moon is placed. If the moon is placed in Aries, look at it from that aspect as well, and then come to a conclusion as to what will be the effect based on what I've just explained in this videos. And then if need be, you need to consult an astrologer, an expert Vedic astrologer, who will provide the necessary remedies for you during this 2.5 years period, which is starting from November the 2nd, 2014. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, especially for people who are connected with the Aries zodiac sign as an ascendant or the moon sign. And I will be taking up another video in my next session. And in the meanwhile, I will recommend, please visit my website. There's a link below, and subscribe to the channel. Good luck to you.